Former General Motors executive Michael Dunn has revealed why Warren Buffett sold his BYD stake, or at least well over 50% of his stake. And it's an interesting insight into the company that you might not have heard before. Now, I personally have to admit, I don't agree with every comment that he's made here. However, it's definitely information that you might find interesting about BYD and a different side that the media are not talking about. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Now, guys, I want to clarify a recent comment I made. I've received a few emails from people that were furious. Now, when I said in a former video that there was a lot of stupid Americans, I wasn't referencing everyone in America. There's a lot of stupid Australians. There's a lot of stupid Germans. It is the truth, right? There is millions of people on the planet who are spreading false information, who believe things like EVs are bad for the environment, right? All kinds of insane stories like that. They are sharing this misinformation online. They are part of the world's problem. So I wasn't referencing individuals on an individual basis or all Americans. It was just a comment in reference to people that are clearly actively intending to spread misinformation and I think trying to bury their head in the sand. Now, BYD, so damn good, but not invincible. Michael Dunn says this is what Warren Buffett might be thinking. Now, the other day, there was a post shared by, it was written by Bloomberg, I believe, and it actually referenced the fact that BYD has more debt than they are revealing. And they've got a complex structure that kind of hides a lot of that debt. That said, even if that post is correct, and I don't know if it is, therefore I haven't done a video on it because I'm not sure if it's true, the debt claimed was only $40 billion, which is, I mean, still a lot, but it's absolutely peanuts in comparison to Ford, General Motors, Toyota, the Volkswagen Group. In comparison to its rivals, that debt is actually fairly insignificant. So damn good, but not invincible though, says Michael Dunn. Not a lot of people talk about it, but Warren Buffett has been aggressively shedding his BYD holdings. Since late 2022, Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has reduced its ownership in BYD by more than half. Those sales are shares it has owned since prescient investment way back in 2008. So in 2008, the CEO of Himalayan Capital, he was friends with Charlie Munger, who was obviously a partner with Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway. Now, Charlie's friend was from Taiwan, and he said, listen, you've got to come and check out this company called BYD. No one's heard of them in the West. It's 2008, right? 16 years ago, I hadn't heard of them, that's for sure. No one's heard of them, but I'm telling you, these guys, they are going to be winners. This was probably the riskiest investment that Berkshire Hathaway have ever made. I mean, really, think about it. How many times has Berkshire Hathaway invested a large sum of money in a completely unknown Chinese company? Completely unknown. I mean, I don't think there would have been anyone in Australia or America who knew who they were. Maybe a handful. Maybe no more than 10 people. And there was literally zero videos on YouTube about them. So that was a really risky play. And to be fair, Berkshire Hathaway, they did make this investment, kudos and credit to them, but it never would have happened without this Taiwanese CEO of Himalayan Capital. Berkshire now owns less than 5% of BYD, but they used to own a lot more. Here's the strange thing. Warren Buffett has been selling shares at a time when BYD is hitting full stride, growing faster than any other automaker in the history of cars. That's a fact that is, well, hasn't been reported by the media. They're actually growing faster than any other car company in the history of cars. BYD deliveries are up 10 times since 2020, from 400,000 to more than 4 million per year in 2024. That's a remarkable statistic, isn't it? What matters, what makes this high velocity industrial sprint even more stunning is that BYD sales actually fell for 3 consecutive years between 2018 and 2020. Now, suddenly, BYD is bigger than Ford, Honda, or Nissan. And the growth isn't stopping anytime soon. Investors not named Warren Buffett are entranced. BYD is now worth $105 billion US in respect to its overall market cap. That makes BYD the third most valuable automaker in the world after Tesla and Toyota. Okay, maybe Warren Buffett is just taking profits, being smart, says Michael Dunn. Or maybe, just maybe, the Oracle of Omaha senses something that everyone else is missing. What might that something look like? Reader, wait a second. Dunn, before we go deeper on Buffett, first remind us how BYD got so good so fast. Michael Dunn says, okay, let's have a look at what BYD have done. The reality is that competitors today genuinely respect and actually fear BYD. Even though Toyota and all their bluster are claiming that BYD will have no effect on their sales, which is insane, the truth is that they're actually petrified of them. After a visit to BYD's headquarters in 2023, Toyota's EV head, Takiro Kato, came back to Japan and announced, we're in trouble. Ford CEO Jim Farley recently called BYD products an existential threat to Ford's business. Here's why. Number one, vertical integration. Building 80% of its parts in-house lets BYD produce vehicles at 25% lower cost than established automakers in the West. Now, 25% is the claim. I believe that 25% is vastly understated. I believe it's closer to 35 or 40% based on numbers I've seen recently from Europe. Blade battery. BYD has designed arguably the world's safest and, well, cheapest good battery in the world. The Blade lithium iron phosphate battery is so good that rival Tesla sourced the Blade battery for its made in Germany Tesla Model Y. Now, to be fair here, I need to add a bit of a caveat. The Blade battery is good, but it's definitely fallen behind its rivals in terms of energy density and its ability to charge quickly. But BYD has two new versions of the Blade battery, which are completely revolutionary and far, far better than today's existing Blade battery. Number three, product range. BYD offers the full spectrum of cars and SUVs powered by battery electric or plug-in hybrid propulsion systems. It doesn't make any purely internal combustion engine cars. Prices start at $9,700 for the Seagull and run up to $223,000 for the Yang Wang U9 supercar. Well, this supercar, you would think, there's not going to be much demand for that, but in fact, they've sold more than 100 in only 6 months. Design. Under the leadership of Audi-trained Wolfgang Egger, BYD's 600-plus team of designers are creating interesting, fresh, and good-looking cars, like the BYD Seal, which you've got to admit is a nice-looking car. R&D patents. BYD has 110,000 engineers on staff, the most of any auto company in the world. And most of those automotive engineers are not purely internal combustion engineers. Is that something you'd really want for an EV? No. Most of them have training in some dimension in electrification. By the end of 2024, the BYD team had filed an astonishing 29,000 global patents. Confidence. BYD, they don't lack confidence, that's for sure. The company exported 400,000 cars in 2024, including 40,000 to Mexico. This year, the target is to export 800,000 cars, or to increase their numbers by 100% year over year. BYD recently launched the Shenzhen, the world's largest car-carrying ship, and BYD's fourth roll-on, roll-off ship since 2024. It actually has 7 car-carrying ships that will ferry its cars all over the world over the next 5 to 10 years, allowing it potentially to overtake Toyota as the largest car company in the world. BYD appears to have turned into a legitimate global powerhouse. So what's causing Warren Buffett to unload shares? Well, number one, Michael Dunn says uneven quality. Now, I reported on this, and I have to admit, guys, in the video that I did on the channel on this, I was eviscerated, slammed by BYD fans. Now, a lot of these BYD fans, I would say almost all of them, hadn't heard of the company 3 or 4 years ago, right? When I was doing YouTube videos, when I first started the channel, just under a bit less than 4 years ago, no one was watching them because no one had heard of BYD. So these are new BYD fans, but I think a lot of them have bought a BYD car. So any level of criticism is unjustified and feels like a personal attack. This is not me sharing with you this information. I'm simply sharing with you facts coming from different media sources. Michael Dunn is a former General Motors executive and a Chinese car expert. And I think he probably knows better than I will, so I'm just going to share with you what he's saying. Number one, uneven quality. According to the JD Power China 2024 IQS study, the BYD Seal and BYD Song Plus finished at or near the bottom in quality rankings. Manufacturing executives in the industry tell me it is next to impossible to increase output 10 times in 4 years and not have quality issues. Now, this is speculation, but that's what's been reported. Number two, labor standards. Authorities in Brazil temporarily shut down BYD's operations at the end of December. A total of 163 of those workers at a construction company hired by BYD were found to be working in what Brazilian authorities said were slavery-like conditions. BYD is learning that accepted labor practices at home in China don't translate overseas. A lot of people believe that story was made up by the media, but no, I'm sorry. Even if that hurts your feelings because you're a fan of BYD, I understand it wasn't made up by the media. It was a true story. It was a real story. Keep in mind, guys, that Brazil wants car companies to build factories in Brazil. Every government in the world wants BYD to build a factory in their country. Think about the profits you can make from this. Think about the amount of people you can hire. It's enormous tax revenues that come to any country. So this story would not have been fabricated by the government because they simply want to get rid of Brazil. What's in it for Brazil, right? They want BYD. Brazil don't have any major car makers. They have no automotive industry to protect. It doesn't make sense that these claims are not actually true. Number three, trade fireworks. With recent 100% tariffs on Chinese cars imported into the US and Canada and a flat ban on Chinese software and hardware in connected cars, North America has delivered a giant not welcome here message to BYD and every other Chinese maker. Europe too has lifted tariffs on BYD imports. BYD sold fewer than 3,000 cars in Germany last year. Brazil and Mexico are looking to beef up tariff and non-tariff protections after being inundated with cars from China in recent years. Now, the reason that particularly Mexico will actually put in place tariffs on Chinese cars is simply because they fear the US government and Donald Trump's wrath more than they fear China. Over-dealering, number four. When I talk to BYD dealers in places like Brazil, Thailand, and Indonesia, there are two recurring themes. They love the BYD products. They are much less happy about BYD's tendency to promise a market area to one dealer only to give new outlets to other dealers in the same area a few months later. When that happens, profits slide to zero very quickly. The honeymoon was short and it's already over. There's no more money, is how one dealer in São Paulo, Brazil, put it. Now, I have heard reports, it's not just from Brazil, that does happen. Complex brand portfolio, number five. BYD is building 4 core brands at the same time, which can be expensive and distracting. BYD, Denza, Fang Chengbao, and Yang Wang. Guys, you have to admit, that is confusing. I mean, when I do a video that says Fang Chengbao Bao 3, I mean, 99% of the audience has no idea. Fang Chengbao, what does that mean? Yang Wang. Yang Wang. Come on, guys. That sounds insane. You have to admit, I don't think BYD consulted any Western experts on the naming of these brands. And I do think it's questionable to think that that's a good strategy. 4 different brands. It's really hard to educate buyers on just one brand, let alone 4. And there is a lot of models. Let's be honest. There's like, more than 50 different models? I even don't know them all. I literally go back and there'll be a news article and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that BYD car. Oh, I forgot about that Yang Wang. Oh, I forgot about that thing. It is confusing. It's like walking to a lolly shop and there's like hundreds of lollies. You just don't know which lollies to buy. Number 6, supply chain financing. Bloomberg reported this week that BYD debt may be larger than it appears. However, it's structured. It's clearly a form of hidden debt. BYD is using sleight of hand to present these liabilities as part of working capital, says Nigel Stevenson of GMT Research in Hong Kong. BYD took an average of 275 days to pay suppliers in 2023. So those payments, that's a fair bit longer than Tesla, who took about 100 days. All these issues, of course, are manageable. They can be fixed or improved. BYD has enough employees, nearly 1 million in total, to power through these growing pains. But there is one more danger lurking on the horizon, says Michael Dunn, and it's a big one. The US and China are engaged in an intense battle for supremacy over next generation technologies. BYD, fairly or not, is seen as the tip of the CCP spear when it comes to EVs and batteries. Warren Buffett, more than anyone, would understand this risk. In 2023, Buffett sold every last one of his shares in TSMC, the world's largest and most profitable chip maker, headquartered in Taiwan. When asked about the thinking behind this move, Warren Buffett was succinct. "I don't like its location," he said. Warren might know a thing or two, but then again, he might not. Admittedly, Warren Buffett is definitely part of the old generation. I don't feel like Berkshire Hathaway have really nailed it over the last 5 years in terms of picking the same excellent stocks that they used to in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the noughties, when average returns at the company were around 30% per year. Absolutely insane. Berkshire Hathaway is primarily invested in one company, Apple. And my friends, I'm not convinced that's a good idea. But what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.